Hey everyone, we got a great show for you today. And today we're actually going to be featuring Mel Robbins. As you guys know, she's got a best-selling book out called Let Them. And I think is a great thing to really go over and dissect, being that there's a lot of issues and relationships, and not just intimate, but friendships as well. Parents that we can learn from her insights and wisdom. So that's what we're going to be shooting off today together. So Helen, you ready to rock and roll?
Yes, let's talk about it. Good. Let
Let's
me
talk
share my
about it. Let's
screen.
do it.
Awesome. I'm excited because it's always good to hear from Mel Robbins. Tell me if you can hear well. Okay, one, two, three.
To think negative thoughts about you. And when you let people think negative thoughts about you, it unlocks your confidence, it frees your self-expression, and it will catapult you into a whole new chapter of your life, your career, your happiness. This is amazing. Give people the freedom to think something negative about you. Let them. It not only works, it's science. You have zero control over someone else's opinion of you, so it is stupid to waste your time trying to manage it. The fact is, it's impossible to control someone else's thoughts. Therefore, fearing what other people think or trying to control their thoughts is a complete waste of your time. You will never feel in control of your life, your feelings, your thoughts, or your actions until you first stop being consumed with or trying to control what other people think about you.
So good. So good. You go first.
Huh. So when I hear that about letting people control your thoughts, man, it brings me back to being an athlete and how when athletes are expected to perform under pressure and you got fans screaming at you, you got an opponent throwing stuff at you. And the reality of it is when we step into that box, there's nothing out there that is supposed to be able to take us off ourselves. Meaning, I have to be able to stand in there and control my body, my rhythm, my timing, my swing, my aggressiveness. All the focus is has to be on me and able for me to perform and execute a successful swing. And that's what it reminds me of for me is that the life of an athlete. You if you don't have control over yourself in that box, then you're not you have nothing. And so that's what I take into consideration when I hear worried about people's thoughts. Like I can't be out there worried about what the fans are saying if I expect to be
To
able to
perform.
well. And so again, this is why I say sports is life because sports teaches you how to deal with life situations. Yeah, I have to be able to focus on my objective, regardless of what they think. Not every fan likes me. Not the pitcher's trying to make me look bad. The defense is out there is wanting me to get out. They're wanting me to strike out. I willingly go into an arena knowing that there's going to be some people on my side and some people not on my side. Which brings another question. It's like, where do we get off thinking that everybody is supposed to like us? When we go to sports, when we watch sports, we're going for two opposing. You're going to be sitting next to somebody that's rooting for somebody else. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to hate them,
Yeah.
but understand that we're not rooting for the same thing. So I think that's where we get it twisted in life and we get heartbroken because we're expecting everyone to like us. And the last thing I'm gonna say here, I was listening to a video, I think it was Myron Golden, and he was talking about signals and he was saying every message that we put out is a signal. Every single message. And he said it's not a true message. He said it's not a true signal. It can't be a true signal unless it's received and rejected. A true signal must be received and rejected. It has to have that polarity. It has to have the positive and the negative for it to be a true signal. Think about radio frequencies. right? It has to be rejected and it has to be received in order for it to be a true. If everything is always received, I think even scripture talks about that. It talks about, I'm a paraphrase, but it talks about if you're always everybody likes you, then you're probably not being authentic. And that's the problem. We don't want to deal with the rejection and the pain and the frustration of being our authentic self because we know it's going to cut some people out.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
take.
No, I love that. The true signal. I love Mario. No, no issue. I think it's more about it. We want people, I think we're so focused on wanting people to agree with us. And I think we are in a generation that everybody got like, we all have to be leaders and influencers and blah, blah, blah. And for that, it's almost like everybody has to agree with me. Otherwise, I'm not being an influencer or a leader or this. And actually, no, be a good leader is actually knowing that a lot of people disagree with me because I have something that I stand for and I have something that I stand against. And I love the
Mm,
let them
yeah,
theory because you gotta have
I
something
like
that
that.
you stand for and stand
I
against
like the stand
because
against. That right there. I like that.
yeah, because if you don't, you are pushover just like the same thing. So you would be a
Mm,
pushover because if I don't know what I'm against, I also gonna have a hard time what I'm for. And I think trying so
mm,
hard to have people agreeing with us is just it's stupidity. So I love what she said because let them test two parts of the theory. They let them and let me because and I love that part because when she's saying that, let them think negative thoughts about you, negative thoughts about you. And that was so lovely because she said after in this video, particularly we don't have it, but in the book, she'll say, and let people that you love have negative thoughts about you. And she, because they will. And they will all the
mm.
time. And it's normal to say about her husband. She's like, I love my husband, but I have negative thoughts about him all the time. And then thinking about life, of course, we do that to each other all the time. So why we so worry about it? Like even me and you, we're great friends, and we've been friends for a good time right now, very consistent. Has many times that I have negative thoughts about you that are annoying, that I'm upset. Oh my gosh, they're like annoys me so much. It's a
Mm.
negative thought, but you don't care.
Likewise.
I know. Wow, what a surprise. Shocking. But why, like, you don't care about this the same way that for you as an athlete was so clear that I have somebody for and I have somebody against. And I'm okay with that. And because you go to the field knowing that you have somebody for you, but you have somebody against you, it's
Mm.
okay.
So you said something there that I think is very interesting. You said before you go to the field, you've established that you have somebody for and you have somebody against. I think that needs to be established. Even fans that go to the game understand that they go. So when they go, there's going to be a rooting opponent against them.
Yes.
So when it happens, there's no surprise. There's no surprise that you see another team cheering or fans cheering for another team. Now, sometimes that stuff gets out of hand, right? It gets out of hand, but the reality of it is there's no surprise. And if we're surprised, oh my God, oh, how does, oh, that's usually a sign of our
Uh,
people bondage of wanting to
or
be
lack
accepted by
of
everybody.
preparation too, or lack of
Lack
preparation.
of preparation. Yeah, preparing your mind to say, hey, today I when I wake up, again, and I say this all the time, an athlete wakes up to train and prepare for his opponent. The average everyday person wakes up to try to be successful. There's a
Mm,
difference.
is a difference.
The success for an athlete, the success for an athlete is having success over the opponent, over
And no,
executing against them.
and know that is the fight. I think what you say when you post today is every day I wake up and I say it's a game. We are live in our
Yes.
no, we are not live. We are actually in our podcast, me and Daryl, and we're gonna share the link pretty soon. So here, Daryl, say hello.
What
No,
up?
hard. What up? Is that what up? We're gonna be talking about Let Them from Mel Robbins, which is an amazing book. I love that because what you're saying is even what you post today. I think you posted today. Every day I wake up and I like to tell
On
myself,
my
"Is
reel.
this a game? You're real today. It is a
Yes.
game. It is a game."
Yes.
And what she said, let people think negative thoughts about you. Just understand that it is every day is a game. Every day is a fight. People that are with me will have negative thoughts about me. People that are against me will have negative thoughts about me. But like the thing is, what do I think about me? What I'm for and what I'm against. If I know where I'm going and it doesn't matter what people think, I can shift my my path and my direction as many times as I want and need, because it's not about pleasing people, but it's about I know what it takes to get where I want to get. And when the less we worry
Right.
about each other, in the again, I will repeat what she said, that I love the let them and let me. Because the let them is like, I can't control what they do, I can't control what they say, and they're gonna be against me regardless. If I do, and the more we try to please people, have you tried to be like, get everybody, like family, even like family reunions or things like this, when you try to make everybody happy? Man, it's miserable. It's miserable for you. It's miserable for everybody, and it just make everybody be so mad. Even like an Enzo's game right now, we were in a team that we were telling the coach all the time, "Hey, you have those select group of kids that they are very good. Every time you have a game, you have to put it in." And he will always tell us, like, "Yeah, but I can't because the other parents that the kids don't play well, they're gonna be mad at me." So end of story. He was always trying to please everybody. And then what happened? All his best players just left the team now and they are going to another team and he couldn't even talk to them. And even the ones that he tried to please, what happened? They left too. And if he was at
They end up
least
leaving anyway.
clear, exactly, if he was clear what he was for and what he was against, he would at
Hmm.
least had kept the good ones. Or the bad ones, I don't know,
Right.
but pick one. But because you try to please
Right.
everybody, it's the same thing. And this is not like you said in the beginning for relationships, not just marriage and love relationship, but for friendship, business relationship, and everything else. But what I love is let them, but let me. And the let me is where the powers lands, because it's what can I do? They're
Hmm.
thinking this or that about me. Yeah, okay, whatever. But what can I do to change this if I really want to change? And
Right.
that's the part that we can be empowered and have to take ownership.
So talking about Mel Robbins in her book, I wrote down some notes about some of the things she said. And one of the things that stood out to me was unknowingly give our power away. And unknowingly, and being and unknowingly is such a powerful word because scripture talks about my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Yo, what up? They talk about my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And so unknowingly, because nobody would willingly give their power away.
Yeah.
Why would you willingly give your power away? So it's always unknowingly doing it. And so we have to start asking ourselves questions like, why? How are we giving our power away? What do we see in ourselves or not, or fail to see in ourselves that causes us to act in a certain way? Because people, honestly, if you know you're a king, and I think because scripture talks about constantly being the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Kingdom mindset. And so when we start to operate and see ourselves as kings, we operate from a place of authority versus a slave mentality is a mentality that says, "Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I got to react to everything." It's less proactive. It's less proactive. She talks about being reactive when we react to people's comments. And again, I've got to give you the baseball analogy. When I step up to the plate and when I have that guy that's throwing 95 100 mile an hour fastball at me, okay, I have to have a level of control. Okay. I have to, there's 50,000 fans screaming. There's a guy that's trying to make me look stupid. I have to have a level of control about myself. I can't be freaking out every time something doesn't go my way.
Yeah.
And every time a fan yells out something negative, I can't react to that. I have to ignore it. But to the degree that I see myself is going to be the degree that determine how I react. I'll never forget. I was standing in left field one time. I was standing in left field one time, and these guys were just chirping. They were chirping, and I turned around and talked to them. I said, hey, how much y'all pay to get in here? They was like, oh, we play. I said, that's right. You came to see me play. Sit down and shut, shut. I said a little bit worse than that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I said, sit down and shut up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, but I wasn't angry. But that was me. Because
They're
they
saying
even,
they're
that was my. I'm like, sit down and shut up. Because you came to see me play. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? And so they saw me in the van the next day. They were staying in the hotel, the same hotel, and they saw me get into the van. Oh, D, what's up, man? Hey, man, we're
Then
sorry.
you're the
Because reality is, they just want you to shoot the crap with them too. If you're not rude about it, like we were cool, but it was just like they liked the fact that I went back at them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't take it like, oh man, stop. No, it's like, sit down and watch the game, fool. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Come on. No, it's good. But like you say, exercise.
Rodney, what's up, baby?
Exercise
Sorry.
your authority. Are you live on Instagram?
I'm live. I'm live on Instagram over here.
Yeah, we should go live together then, not like
Yeah.
separate.
Instagram, we are live. We are live. We're
Where are
talking
you,
about Mel Robbins'
Instagram?
book. Huh?
Where are you?
What do you mean? Where am I? I'm on Instagram.
Are you in... I don't see
I'm
you
on my
live on Instagram. That's what I'm saying. Now I see.
Yeah. It's Braden McGowan.
So,
Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go.
no, but what else do you wanna add?
Oh, so another thing too, that brings it to the next point, managing other people, right? Managing other people. So we sit there and we talk about, we think we're in power when we're trying to micromanage people, but we're losing power. We think we're in power. That's my note that I wrote there. We think we're in power, but you're every time, because I wrote another note. Your time and energy are resources. What you use them on matters. So if anytime I give my time or energy to anything or anyone, I'm using it up. So if I'm using it up, I need to use it up on something that's ultimately going to be beneficial to me without extra effort.
Yep.
If I'm having to force and if I'm having to pull you to do something, that is something that's taken more from me than I wanted to. And it ultimately is going to end in something not so good.
Man, I have to add to this. I have to add this, especially for Christians. Let's call out all the Christians. Man, there's idea of be goody about everything, and I have to love everybody. And when Bible say like love everyone, is the love of understand we are all humans, we're all gonna fail, we're not gonna be perfect. That type of love. But I don't believe in that love that I have to just accept and be friends and be, oh my gosh, so good to have everybody. Because like you said, that is using my energy in the wrong direction, because that is saying I have to please everybody. I have to be the good one, and I have to do everything in my power to be the good one and forget everything of like even Jesus did for us in Christ, because now is my good deeds that will make everything. And like you said, is energy being waste, because this energy that I'm using to either control everybody, which is micromanaging. A good leader don't control. A good leader is so good on sell the idea, and the mission and the vision, and everybody's on board because they want to be. And you don't have to control. Like every time you have to control and micromanage, it's just it's showing insecurity. That's it. We all want to control.
Insecurity and
we're afraid of losing.
lack of clarity of vision, lack of clarity of your communication as well. Because the clearer you can communicate the message, the more people get it, and the more they can move forward in carrying out the assignment. And so, if I have to, our whole goal is to what? Be able to put you in a position to where I can sit back, just like on a baseball field. If you're coaching a bunch of kids, right? You're coaching a bunch of players. I want to be able to sit back and watch the game, watch you execute. I shouldn't have to get on the field and say, go here, go there. But if I haven't prepared you guys enough, then we're in trouble, right? So no, let's say this. We have to give up our energy a little bit in the beginning, but I don't want to give up my energy in the beginning to have to keep giving up my energy.
Exactly.
I'm giving my energy up in the beginning so that now I can position you over here and then I can step over here and put my energy into something else because energy has to be used. I don't want to keep putting my energy in the same thing over and over again if it's not going to bring multiplication, if it's not going to
Yes.
produce fruit. I'm not going to keep watering the seed if it's not going to grow. What sense does that make?
Makes no
I'm gonna
sense.
I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna leave you over here. I'm gonna go over here to something else that I see growth. But I don't see growth. What point do I stop? And so that's ultimately what she's saying is let them and let me. You have to let yourself be able to make beneficial decisions versus self-destructive decisions.
Yeah. And try to really hold everybody close and doing what I want to do is not necessarily smart enough.
Bro, it takes more energy to do that. It takes more energy to do that than anything else. Who wants to, if I do this all day, if I do this all day, right? Anyone else hearing it? Oh, she's hearing echoes. I
And
think it's because we
I
got, yeah.
turned completely down, but it's still maybe a little bit. You have to turn
Is it better?
your
Is
volume.
that better? Can you hear me?
I can. Is you asking me or her? Who you asking?
Ellery, are you hearing echoes still? Let
Uh,
me know.
I turned down the volume here.
Mine's down.
Mine too.
Yours is better?
Good? Better? No? Maybe?
I don't know.
Keep on. Keep going. We gotta finish up.
Yeah. So, anyways, what I was saying is if I hold myself tight like this all day, guess what's going to happen? My muscles are going to tense up, be tight, be sore because I'm extending extra energy versus being relaxed and like this. So I don't want to hold everything. If I got to hold everything tight like this all the time, it's probably a problem. It's probably a problem.
Yeah. And if you're holding so much somebody, there is just, and the second of the book, she's saying, if you're constantly trying to talk to somebody that you love or really like making the effort, like in other words, if you always the person that always go after the people you love, could be relationship or whatever, and never comes in return, is gonna have to appoint it. Let them
Mhm.
be who they are, but also let go because even though it's hard, but it's just the energy that we have to understand. Let me, and the let me is that worth my energy? Or even better, is that what I want from? Is this
Right.
person, this relationship, this job, this church? Let's talk about church.
Hmm.
So like people are there like forever and same one because I cannot move because it's not from God. But if we're unhappy, completely unhappy, like you said, you're planting a seed and you putting water and nothing is growing, whatever you are, relationship, friendship, church, job, business, sometimes we have to be fast on moving and understand that it's not worth the energy.
And then I have, so it says here, other people hold no real power. And I think that's a big thing because it goes back to how we see others is based on how we see ourselves.
Yeah.
And if, and a lot of that, it mirrors each other. So if I don't see myself, if I see myself as small, I probably see this other person as big in my own eyes, as far as in this context. And so I'm always going to constantly be giving people the benefit of the doubt. You become a pushover. You act like a slave. Slaves act like a slave. You know what I'm saying? Kings act is echoing. Say it's echoing. I think. Let me see this. You guys hear? I think it's because we got. I think the echo's coming because we're both on it.
Yeah. I will take it out from.
Yeah, that's where the echo's coming from. She's gonna take it off.
Uh,
All right, you guys hear me now? Yep. See, that's what it was. Damn it, Helen,
Me.
messing my stuff.
I'm
But
always
so
the problem.
yeah, so kings act like kings. So when you believe you're a king, you conduct yourself like one. You take authority over your own life. You take authority over the situation. I had a situation happen this past weekend where I had to manage. You're welcome. I had to manage a large group of people, and they were upset, and I had to gain control. If I walked into that situation scared and afraid, then they would have sensed that and they would have took control.
Yeah.
But I had to assert my authority in the situation, all right, and take control of that situation. But it was based on when I walked in the situation, I believed that I was capable of taking control of that situation. And so a lot of times we allow certain things to happen. I'll never forget when my mentor, I was sitting down with my mentor, and he asked me a question. He made a statement and he asked me a question. He said, "Hey, Daryl, why do you keep allowing this to happen?" That's one thing. He said, allow. And another thing he said is, you teach people how to treat you.
Mhm.
So the way you carry yourself will determine how people respond to you.
Yep.
And there's actually a scripture that talks about where God had given the land to the Israelites, the people. And he said, "Hey, I want you to go spy on the land. I want you to go spy on it because it's yours." I think it was Caleb and someone else. They went over there, they spied on it, they came back to report back to the people, and their message was, "Hey, we can take these guys," because there was giants in the land. They said we could take it. God said this, we can take this land. The other people, there was people that had doubt. They were like, "No, we can't take it." Oh. And the people decided to listen to their message instead of the positive message. And it said they wept and were fear all night and they did nothing. Right. And the next verse says that, for they saw themselves as grasshoppers. Therefore, in the eyes of the giants, they were grasshoppers. So, in other words, the enemy saw them based on how they saw themselves. But the catch is, the enemy never saw them physically. That's why they call you spies. They didn't even know you were there.
Exactly. And
Except for they were in themselves grasshoppers.
and isn't that great that everything that is negative, if you think about it, everything that is negative or is part of your past is full of details. And a vision doesn't have a lot of details. In a vision, you have to take the vision. And the reason why I think the people trusted more the negative than the positive, because they came and said, "Hey, God says ours, let's go," was a vision. And then the other said, "Oh my gosh, you should see the size of the giants. You should be the size of this. You should be so much details." Because in that gave more perspective for somebody that was listening. It was almost like these guys didn't explain too much, but these ones are explaining so much that here I can trust, because then goes back to our condition, to what we can see. And if what I can see is only what is around me, I can't go that far, because the vision requires believing what I cannot see
See
yet.
beyond. Yeah.
There
Right.
will be not much detail. I won't
Right.
have the same level of detail of things I went through already, but things that pass in my life, the relationships that fail, the things that fail because I went through. Anything in my life that has too much details is probably what I have to let go and take
We
upon.
know too much. In other words, we know too much.
We know too
We
much.
don't need to know too much, because if we know too much, our mind will convince us of all the reason. And I think Mel Robbins talks about that. She said she talks about a 5 second rule, and
Yes.
how whenever you're faced with a new decision, that you have about 5 seconds to decide to act on a decision before your brain goes to convince you about all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. Why? Because our brains are designed to protect us. So anything your brain sees as a threat. What's going on, Lizzie? Anything your brain sees as a threat, it is going to protect you. So here's the catch. Here's a catch when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to business, comes to life, comes to sports. It is now your responsibility to intentionally expose yourself to environments long enough to where what seems uncomfortable becomes so to the point where your brain now is in it so long where it says, okay, this is safe. This
It's
is safe.
okay. Yeah.
This is safe. And then once you get safe at that level, now it's your responsibility to go to the next level because it hasn't been to the next level yet. That's why it doesn't like look. That's why it tries to keep you from that. It doesn't even know. How many times do we make assumptions on things we don't even know about? We act like we know everything.
We only make assumptions of things we don't know. That's why it's called assumption, because we don't know.
Because we don't know, and we'll convince ourselves. Why won't you ask such and such to help you out? Man, because she's gonna be busy. They're gonna do, bro. Ask.
And we know
Ask
it's
before you say
assumption,
something.
but we still convincing ourselves that it is the truth.
And we do that in relationships. We do that in relationships, and we do that in business friendships. We do that in everything.
Everything.
Ask the question. Oh man. So this other note I got is your happiness is tied to your actions, not someone else. Your actions are tied to your happiness. Your happiness is tied to your actions, not someone else. How many times do we allow someone else to ruin our day or ruin our moment or ruin our time? Why do you think that is? Why do you let me ruin your day, Helen? Why do you let me do it? Why do you get
Sometimes I give you way too much power.
Whose fault is that?
Me. No, to you I don't give much power, but some other people I do give.
No, we argue too much. We go back and forth too much.
Me and you, we could
Yeah.
go. I don't care. I always
But
win.
I'm saying, so we
but
we clash a lot.
We do clash a lot. That's why we decided to start this podcast, is for this reason. Like, we clash a lot, and a lot of people clash a lot, and they try to avoid confrontation. And one thing I always say, confrontation is awesome. People like decide to believe that confrontation is a bad thing. Confrontation is not a fight, it's not an attitude. Confrontations is asking questions. Is no, I don't agree, I disagree, and here's why. But yeah, when we give too much power to others, is when we let people ruin our days because we leave too much to them and not to us. We don't take control of the situation, because things that you upset me, yes, but you probably upset me when I let you. What do you want to show?
What does that R say right up there? Responsibility. It says responsibility. Just so you guys know, right here. Let's see here. There, right there. How you develop your dream. I'm all in the camera. Discipline. The R is for responsibility. Just so you guys know, responsible. We don't take enough responsibility for our own life, for our own. So we put it on someone else unintentionally, unknowingly. We put it on someone else.
And you know who else? We do that a lot as a Christians to God. I hate when people say
Facts.
a lot. It's like, oh, I'm waiting on God. I'm praying about it. I'm like, this is we as humans, we need to blame somebody. That's normal. We all want to blame someone. That's it. Because it's so much easy. I got a horrible day because Daryl pissed me off. Oh, so annoying. Isn't that so much easier than like, why did it allow 5 seconds, even more than that, to Daryl to piss me off? Which is normal. He does piss me off all the time. What is the big deal? Why I allow it to ruin the day? And that's what we don't understand. And then with God, we do exactly the same thing. We are waiting. Oh, God didn't do it. And that is a way that a lot of us Christians are not moving, are not getting what God already released and already gave to us, because we're still waiting or praying or find any type of excuse, because we're taking the responsibility that God already gave to us. He said he gave all the capability of everything. You can do all things. That's what he said. You can do all things, literally. He already released the grace. He already gave me the capacity and everything. But when I'm saying I'm waiting or this and that, I'm literally taking the responsibility that was put in me and putting it in God.
Sorry. They're talking noise on Instagram.
Yeah, he's pretty.
No, that's fine. But no, that little joker, her son, standing on my goddamn couch.
I'm not the only one that got pissed off.
No, we were watching a game, and it was a Super Bowl, and Trey was standing on my couch yelling and screaming. I was like, "Get your ass off my couch," because I was already pissed. I was already pissed that my team was losing. So of course, you got this little kid standing on my couch, yelling and screaming. That's what I told you. That's what. Yeah, no, it's all good, bro. It's all good.
Okay.
But no, that was good. The more you let other people live their lives, the happier you will be. I love what she says. She says, let people do what they would rather do.
Oh, yes.
One more time. Just kidding, movie star. No, it's all good. It's all fair. I just want to say, hope you have a good day and thank you for inspiring me to take baseball seriously. Just wanted to say, hope you have a good. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you. Thank you for that comment. I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby. So let people do what they would rather do. I think this happens a lot, even in parenting.
Ooh.
We haven't touched much on parent because so many times when it comes to our kids, we will say things like, I don't, it's not you I'm worried about. It's the other kid. No, you worried about your kid acting a fool. And so many times because we're afraid that they're gonna make the wrong decision. Instead of seeing, good night as well, there. Hey, appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Good night. But a lot of times we're afraid of people making certain moves if we back off, when in reality, we need to see those moves and have the courage to make the decision, the productive, not destructive decision. We need to make a productive, not destructive decision regarding whatever decision they made. And that's where I think the hard part is because, again, we don't take responsibility over our part or our role. And so this thing happens. And then what do? Complain. Oh, what has happened? And the more you complain, the more you give the power over to the other person in that situation instead of saying, okay, here's the line drawn. This is the decision you made. This is going to be my response, not reaction, but my response to this decision because it can only be a response if you have standards and values. Think about that. If you have no standards and values, you're not going to respond. You're going to react because reaction is emotional. A response says, let me think about this. Does this line up with this? Did you step over the boundary here? Yes, you did. Okay. This is how I'm going to respond now, not based on my emotions, based on the boundaries and the standards that I set at the very beginning. It's no different when I take my kid and I say, hey, if you get a set, which I did, you get a 75, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. If you get below a 75, that phone is mine. And I'll put the rules right here on that refrigerator. You ain't saying nothing. So ain't no arguments, ain't none of that. So this is what sports and coaches do with teams that we don't do in real life. Businesses do it. They have this guidelines and this rules and regulations, but we don't do it in our relationships. We don't set those standards because we're in love. I love them. If you really love them, you'll set certain boundaries and guidelines for each other to make productive decisions, not
Is it? I think
self-sabotage.
especially in parenting and relationship, the frustration and emotions rise for the misunderstanding the expectation. But normally it's normally because the expectations weren't set right or clear enough. That's it. Then you have your own expectations, and then the person has the other own expectation.
Yeah.
Everybody's communicating expectation, and then everybody's mad and frustrated. So it's just it has and people like to use this phrase a lot. I'm not here to babysit. I'm not here to babysit. And people get confused what babysit means and what clear expectation means. It's not babysitting. Just even with my kids, understand their age and everything. I get in the car, I reinforce everything that they already know. They know they have to do, but to make very clear, what do I expect for this day? Because I know in their age, they're excited. They don't know time. And they are not here to be managing time. It's not their thing right now. And I have to let them be kid. If I don't reinforce the expectations in a daily basis, I cannot call them out or be mad or frustrated because as a kid, the moment I wake up and go to school and play with my friends, I already forgot about the world. It's just part of my life right now. Right. And that would be a bad job of me as a mom saying, I'm not going to babysit them because I already set the expectation. And yes, the expectation is in a board upstairs and a board downstairs and a board everywhere. But it's still, I have to make very clear every day so nobody get confused or forgetful.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, so As you guys say, we're just recapping on some of the discussion on Mel Robbins' new best-selling book, Let Them. And I thought that was good. I thought we had a lot of good pointers. I thought that was a good show today. Hey, guys, hey, make sure you tune in because this is something we definitely want to grow this channel. We also want your feedback. We're going to be ramping up the marketing, the production of it here pretty soon. And we'll definitely be going live. We'll be doing some live sessions with the audience. That way you guys can tune in on YouTube as well. Again, we want to create conversations that nobody's having or create a space for other people to be able to comment and be able to hear and get the feedback. This is not about agreement. We just want to share information, knowledge, and perspectives that maybe you haven't heard before, or maybe we need to be reminded of. Again, it's talking about let's talk about it. Helen, you got anything?
And the things that you may don't want to agree with, and we are okay with them. You can disagree. Here's a channel that we are super welcome to disagreement per se.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So make sure you guys like, share, comment, help us boost this channel. And until next time, see you when we see ya. Peace.
Peace.